your grade 12 marks. So not ideal, probably better to retake it, get an A. But also, if you score really strongly in your grade 12 mark, that also will help. Does this average include English, math, physics, chem? So that will depend on the program. And so like English is almost always considered. English and math is not actually, sorry, not math always, but English almost always is. And then prerequisites for your program. So for engineering, it'd be sciences. For like kinesiology, it would be you need 2 of 3 sciences. For business, you need math. So each of these programs has a different set of prerequisites. Madison, so grade 11 and grade 12 grades. Madison, which subjects are they considered for academic? So it's your prerequisites and your top 6, which is that. So MISBA, how is it like in UBC? It's great. If I get a C in one class, but it does my others, I average, but 92, does that have a drastic impact? So if you get a C in one class, that is not a prereq, so therefore not considered one of those like top 6 courses. It shouldn't be a factor, but also you should like aim to have most of it done. Do you have an undergrad degree in visual art or dual program for visual art and science? You'd have to look that up. Like there's all sorts of dual degree programs, and you'd have to look that up kind of by the program. Is there one for computer science? Yes. Madison was responding here, but she was responding to people in the waiting room. So I think she thought she was answering, but they didn't go out. So she said here, subjects depend on program. Each program has a core average. For example, for business, they will take math, English, and your 4 other highest academic courses. Then Annie, it really depends on which class it is and if it's a core class. Um, uh, if I take a prereq online, would it still count towards the top 6? There's some funny things around that. Some schools do count that, and others don't. Again, UBC is one that's a bit murky in terms of whether they count it or not. I think our guidance is that if you can take it within your district, that's like online and within your district, that's usually like the best guidance so that it's not flagged. But and you know, one thing too is like we tend to like the way that we tend to operate as a business and with our guidance is like there's no shortcuts really. Like you have to like do smart things and work really hard. And like achieving these things, for example, like on the rubric here, it's not like you can just write this on an application. You have to actually do those things because at the end of the day, you're getting reference check too, right? So you know, the answer really is like, you know, yeah, you can take courses online, and that might help. But we tend to say like, you know, be cautious, and it's not a get rich quick scheme, but like, you know, the equivalent of that for academics, like you don't want to take a misstep and then have UBC or not any other school look at your transcript and say, oh, like you didn't do things right. Um, are you eligible for entrance scholarships if you do dual credit in grade 12? I'm not fully sure what that means. So I don't want to answer that incorrectly. Um, uh, Hriditya said, my school only offers academic courses, no AP or IB. What do I do? So uh, IB, so even though IB, the stats coming from IB, right, the International Baccalaureate Program, which is their own thing, they're promoting themselves. They share that students have a 23% higher chance of getting into a academic institution such as the UBC, you know, so on and so forth. However, it is not at all necessary to get in. or UBC does like IB students, but it's not at all necessary, and AP courses as well, not at all necessary. However, um, uh, like they can be a benefit if you succeed in them. So that's the it depends part. So sometimes people think I should take an AP course or an IB course because I'll stand out, which is true it is true if you take them and perform well, right? But if you take an AP course because you're like, I want the challenge, but now you drop to 70%, no good. But if you take the AP course and you have a 94, that's amazing. So don't take the AP course if it's going to drop you down. And it's definitely not necessary for a place like UBC. If you are in mainstream curriculum and you apply with a strong supplemental, and you're within that competitive average range, that's how you get it. That's the good stuff. Um, so it's, yeah, grade 11 and grade 12. The question here is, sorry, Shivani is asking averages for how many years? Grades 10 onwards or only grade 11 and 12? It's grade 11 and grade 12, to be clear. 11, yeah, okay, and Madison answered. If you take grade 11 course and grade 10, would they check those? They would take the grade 11 equivalent course, Tucker. Antoinette, I know someone who applied to UBC Vancouver Engineering but was placed in Okanagan, did not request for this. How is this determined? That is unlikely sounding to me. I mean, maybe that's the case, but more likely is that they accidentally applied or that was their second choice. So when you apply to UBC, you can apply to your first program that's, say, like engineering at UBC campus, and then your second one could be like kinesiology, like, or you could say first choice engineering at UBC Vancouver and second at UBCO. So you can, but you can only apply to two across UBC and UBCO. So my guess is that's what happened more so. And then Madison said I could discuss more about AP. Yeah, again, so VN, so UBC website says they have a preference. Like, again, it's like if you do well, and of course the IB schools say they have a preference. Of course. Like if you're saying, like, I'm going to tell you admission prep is great, obviously. So it's the same thing there. But like, just keep in mind what I'm saying, which is that IB is great if you can succeed at it, but it's also not necessary, right? So let's say you can do really well at IB and it doesn't interfere with your extracurriculars because maybe you're a high level dancer or athlete or what have you. Sometimes IB can interfere with that. It's just impossible to balance the two. So you have to think strategically about if it's the best choice for you. Are you able to live on campus without a meal plan? No. Believe me, many people have tried. What appliance are allowed in dorms? I'm not fully sure on that. Some good questions here. Half off topic. How is it like living on campus? It's great. And it was like so when I was there, I will be honest with you. But then since I left, of course, there's the best restaurants in town that have all moved there, like the best food. They've redeveloped all the things. It is great. The student union building or student center or something rather. They have it, it looks like a spaceship, like it's incredible. So it's really nice there. And also I'm doing some work with the varsity teams in terms of marketing. We're really also looking to make UBC's social life a lot better as well, tying in more varsity sports and athletics as well. Thank you, Ari. Ari is doing great answering all these questions. Is doing cadets as an extracurricular good? And yeah, so 72, that is, I want to tie us back to this, right? Is it good? Is it bad? Not necessarily good or bad, but what they're looking for are these elements: leadership, sense of self and community, initiative and achieving goals, problem solving and resilience, intellectual readiness and expression. Okay, those are the things that they're looking for. So in your activities, you want to ask yourself, am I creating those? And we can touch on that in a second here. And Ari, do you want to unmute and tell me if there's any particular questions I should touch on here? There's like I see there's 99 um things. Oh, sorry, you probably have to. Are you there, Ari?
Yeah, no, I'm there. I'm there. I'm trying to keep up
Okay.
myself, to be totally honest. I think there's a lot. I will let you know. I'm trying to answer what I can. But there's a lot of questions coming in. So I'll tap on you if something specific comes up, but I'll try to keep up as much as I can with the chat because there's a
Yeah, the
lot coming in.
chat is yeah, it's incredible. You guys are doing great.
Yeah, it's
Thank you
really
so
cool.
much.
Really cool.
Um, there's a question here, something about uh, uh, Temi asks, are sports really considered if not done at an extremely high level? Um, it depends, and again, it depends on your involvement and how you can speak to these elements here. How would the application process look for someone who's currently in college? It looks the exact same. Um, uh, and then is UBC better than U of T? It depends what your definition of better is. We don't like to like, yeah, there is rankings, and technically U of T is number one. But um, really, it really comes down to the type of school you want to attend. Do you want to attend like a big city school in a big city, like literally in the middle of a big city? Then U of T is probably for you. UBC is kind of its own space, but it's in Vancouver. And do you like the West Coast lifestyle or do you like the East Coast lifestyle? Do you want to go skiing on weekends or do you want to be in the city on the weekends? Do you want to like where do you want your network to be? These are all questions that you want to ask yourself. Other things too is like, Queens and Western are much tighter knit. McMaster has the best health science program. Waterloo has the best engineering program. So it's not as easy as good or bad, best or worst. It's really about style and fit and where you see yourself going. Some very good questions. I'm gonna kind of like scroll because I'm going to do my best to pick up some ones that I think will
I,
deliver a lot of value.
I
Yeah.
do have one here that I think could maybe be useful. I'm getting a lot of questions specifically for folks wondering what are like the best six courses to take. And I think it's a
Yeah.
mixture of prereqs and that. Could you touch on that? How to tackle there's a lot of the same question coming in different ways around that. I think people are quite interested in like maybe the best six, and I know there is no ideal best six, but I'll let you tackle that.
Yeah, and I did already answer it, but I will repeat it. And so if you weren't listening the first time, listen the second time, which is that it'll be your top six, and then you need to take the prerequisites of your course. So for like business, like I said, it's like English and math, and then for kinesiology, it's like two sciences, and then English. And so there's the different. I think engineering is the two of three sciences, math and English, I believe, for engineering. So then that means you have your four prereqs. So those are included in your GPA. And then you have to take two other courses. So those other two courses should be courses as long as you have your prereqs. But then those other two courses should be courses that you can succeed in and get a really high GPA in. And that's often where people make that mistake is they're like, I'm going to challenge myself with the extra hard super duper PhD level math, and then they get a 45 or something, and then their average drops or whatever. I'm creating illustrative example that basically you don't want to do, but instead, there are some other courses that you can take where your marks will be much higher, and that will help your GPA, which is really good. Um, there was also some good questions. There was another good one. Um, oh, I'll do my best. I think I've covered a lot of those. Um, how do they adjust for different grading between high schools? Um, I think the personal profile is a big thing that sort of levels the playing field there, and they are not as transparent about it as Waterloo is. For example, like Waterloo, U of T is explicit about it. Waterloo is explicit about exactly how they do it. UBC is not. Um, to be totally honest, we are working on gaining more access to this through freedom of information requests. It should be more transparent, but the schools are pretty close-lipped about it. So that is the scenario. So basically, the main things we can learn is from students that have done it successfully, gathering those learnings and then sharing them with you. Can you list the prereq per program that is available on UBC's website? That's the kind of thing that we would do in the program, is like our program is to make sure that we help you with that. Is it better to get a great grade in regular math or get a good grade at AP? Being an AP is not considered favorable. So I would say great grade in regular math is the better thing versus a good grade in AP. Now, they do sometimes say that they, by some accounts, that they adjust AP marks, based on that. There's a slight adjustment, but better just do regular math and crush it if you know you can do that. Are admissions addressed by specifically the classes important for the program, or the grades that might not be related to the program also in question? I'm not sure if I fully understand that one. Sorry, Charlie. Question. There's a couple questions about will we share the slides and the UBC rubric. Yes. So if you're an admission prep student already, the presentation, the slides, and everything will be shared with you. If not, then take notes. This is for you right now. Yeah. Anything else, Ari, that's popping up here?
I mean, a lot is popping up. I'm trying to be totally honest. I'm trying to answer what I can, and well, I will share is that I'm getting. I think there's some folks from Alberta, and they're asking specifically, do Alberta students get a bump up, or if you're outside of if you're from a different province in BC, do you get a bump up or a bump down? And the correct answer is that there's no exact preference per se. And the specific question I'm being asked is, do your grades get adjusted up if you're from Alberta or from Ontario? And the answer is that UBC has a policy called J-50, which means that each year they determine whether any other provinces that are not British Columbia, for each province, whether the grade should go up or go down. So the goal is to normalize the grades, not to give it's not necessarily an advantage that it's going to go up. So maybe I think there's, maybe information that maybe 1 year was bumped up. That was probably true, but what happened in the previous year does not mean that's going to happen this year when you do apply to UBC. So that's how you can understand that. So the best thing you can focus on is aiming to get your grades as high as possible, because they will normalize them up or down based on last year results from students from your province. So I hope that tackles that for some of those specific questions I've been getting.
Yeah, that's really good. Okay, maybe have like time for one or two more, and then we can shift gears to part two. So, question is, do they prefer BC students from Ontario? No, that's not something that's looked at. Do I have to take calculus for business? If so, you eventually have to take calculus. So the way that works is if you can either take it in high school or university. So so if you have the credits from high school, then you don't need to take it in university. Now, again, that's a strategic thing, because if you take it in high school and you're good at it, you can be good at it, and the grade stays high, then great. Now you can get in with a strong grade to business. But then maybe another option is to leave it out until your first year, and then your GPA is higher, than you get in, but then you might struggle in your first year. Which is, as long as you do that and can handle that, then that's totally fine. So that's kind of a strategic / lifestyle choice as well, as to doing that. Let's see if maybe one more here. If kids attend a specialty school, i.e. religious independent, would courses specific to the school, i.e. religious studies, be frowned upon, not considered dismissed in considering grades? They wouldn't be frowned upon. No, they just may not be considered. It depends how, school specific that course is. Okay, good. So uh, the let's shift gears here. So we did trivia time. Okay, now um, we've been chatting here for about 45 minutes. The idea with the part one was to share some of the knowledge that we have, share some of the strategies, share what we can about UBC. Um, Now I'd like to share openly, we are shifting gears. We're going to talk a little bit more about admission prep specifically and how we help students with the UBC application. So if you were here just for the information and you don't want to hear about admission prep, thank you so much. And now would be the time to go and sign off because we are going to now talk about admission prep. Okay, and the focus will be on that. So thank you everyone who's been here so far for part one. And like I said, we're shifting gears now to part two, where we will be talking about admission prep. So we'll be covering the common mistakes that students make for the UBC application, how exactly we fit in and help with that, and then next steps if you want to get going. And then again, questions and answers specifically about the program. So this is the where we come in part with a really cool mug. So there's that. Okay, so these are the common mistakes that a lot of students make, and this is where and why we help. So we touched on it, which is ignoring profile building and only focusing on grades. So grades will get you so far, they will get you looked at, but the profile building is a key thing, and not just essay writing, but profile building. The other thing too, and we touched on it, and there's lots of really good questions on it, which is that selecting the wrong courses to do there's a typo there, in grade 10, 11, and 12, which inadvertently lowers your odds. So we touched on it, which is taking courses that are too challenging and unnecessary, not taking courses that are going to boost your grades, missing your prereqs. So those are all mistakes that students do. The other is selecting the wrong programs to apply to. So we sort of touched on the idea of selecting your goal or your desired first program, but then also a good backup option if UBC is your goal and your end goal. We touched on that. Then your backup option, your second option, you want to choose very strategically, because if you apply to two really competitive programs, like let's say engineering and business, then there's a chance you just don't get into UBC at all, and then you need to do the next intake. The other one too, the most common one, is preparing your supplemental application anytime after September 1st for grade 12 year. This is why. In grade 12, you have your scholarships that start becoming due as early as October and November. So just think about it. You go into school, it's like the first week of September, you get your feet wet, you get your first set of grades, bang, here comes the scholarship deadline. Bang, here comes another deadline. Bang, there's UBC's deadline before you even know it. And you're not even 3 months into school yet. And students, they are like behind the eight ball. They're studying for midterms. They missed a bunch of scholarship awards, and now all of a sudden, I need to apply to UBC to get the scholarship awards. It's not good planning. So because UBC is fairly predictable in terms of the questions they ask every year, we have our students preparing their application in that summer between grade 11 and grade 12. Now, before that, they built their profile, right? So it's a big mistake to wait until after September 1st, especially when you know the questions that are coming. The other one too is not knowing how to fill in the personal profile questions. So sometimes students think it's a super creative exercise, or sometimes, like I said, they get way too broad and they try to jam too much in, or they select the wrong activities to touch on. So for example, they do an activity that wouldn't address initiative, achieving goals, sense of self and community leadership, etc. So that's a typical thing. And then not getting your grades in the competitive range. You need to, because UBC is competitive, they need to be in the competitive range, and you need to have a strong supplemental. You can't have one or the other. You need both. Okay, so those are the common mistakes. So where we specifically help, and so remember we touched on one of the key questions here was it was this one here, which is describe up to 5 activities that you've pursued or accomplishments achieved in one or more of the following areas. Please outline the nature of your responsibilities within these activities, and then you tell us more about 1 or 2 activities listed that are most important to you. Explain the role you played, what you learned in the process. You'll be asked for a reference. Okay, now that ties into this part here, which is that we help you design, plan, and execute the extracurriculars that will be looked at by the application and in the rubric that will meet the grading rubric criteria. So what we typically guide students on is 2 initiator roles, 2 leadership roles, and 1 member role. Now you might have 6 or you might have 7, but we don't recommend that you do more than that because then you don't have enough impact in your role. And also UBC is only asking for 5, right? So you want to have 5 strong ones. Remember one of the other components with this was, where was it here? There was the various, something about various, various. I missed it, but anyway, it's the ability to have varied interests, right? So that was one of the key things is you want to have enough like variety, but not too much, because you also don't want to be pulling your hair out. Now, this is one of the reasons that IB can be a challenge. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it can be. Is that you lack the ability, the time, and the space to take on sometimes some of these activities. So we're not anti-IB here. We're just saying make sure that it's appropriate for you, your goals, your decision. Okay. So that is how we help with the profile. Like I mentioned, this is where you're aiming to go to, right? These students, we've helped students many times. We are in Vancouver. Most of us are UBC grads that work at admission prep. So we know the process inside and out. If this is what you're aiming for, we're the team to help you with that. So specifically, how do we help? So we help with tutoring so that you can achieve the competitive GPAs, and then also subject mastery, because you also don't want to get in there having just gamed the tests and then you flunk out in your first year. You want to actually know the subject. Strategy, so we touched on it, which is determining which programs to apply to and in what order based on your fit. Also to cultivate strong backup plans. For example, there are feeder schools to UBC that are easy to transfer into. Now you don't want it because the first year is such an important socialization year and a great time on campus. So ideally you want to avoid that, but you can have good strong backup plans. Extracurricular coaching, we touched on that, so to guide your selection and your execution, because a lot of students are good at coming up with ideas, but it's more helping with the follow through, but also just letting you know that hey, this challenge you're feeling and this challenge you're facing, other students before you have faced, and here's how they've overcome it. Time management is a big one. We touched on how important it is to be prepared ahead of time and not just applying at the last second. So hence the name, right? Admission prep. It's not admission reacts. It's admission prep, prepared in advance. So we help with that in advance. And then, of course, there's application interview coaching. So I think a lot of students often just think, or families and parents, oh, it's just grades, just grades, just grades. Yes, those are important, but also the application and interview coaching as well. Okay. So that's where we come in. Here's exactly what it looks like inside of our platform. So what you see here, we call these task packs. I think we legitimately have the trademark on this. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, maybe check on that. But task packs, the idea is this is within your platform, and you can actually see there's this very specific tasks of exactly what to do and when to do it. Step 1, step 2, step 3. So if you're the type of person that likes to-do lists, likes the step by step, and takes you out of that merry-go-round of most university application sites. Like, you're kind of like clicking and clicking and clicking. And you're like, where do I actually apply? And then you finally get there. You're like, oh my goodness, thank goodness. Well, this kind of removes that and is like, here's the step by step, but also not just like here's how to apply, but like here's what to do to apply. So you can see in there too. It's like, you know, um, work on your essay edits. Keep editing until you get a 5 out of 5. So we will give you a score on when it's ready to be edited as well. So that is like specifically what's in the program. And so what like it's like working with us is like the Zoom call, maybe not as long, well about this length sometimes. So Zoom calls where we're either tutoring you or we're walking you through these tasks like this, and we're saying, hey, I'll just pick a name here. Adrian, be like, Adrian, um, make sure to do this, this, and this by our next meeting on Wednesday. And then you're like, great. And then on Wednesday, we check back in and make sure you've done it and answer any questions, overcome any roadblocks. And a key thing for us is that we're always scheduling the next session every single time, so that you always have this new checkpoint as to when you have to get stuff done. Because it's easy. I will admit, every student will admit that it's easy to be like, deadline's not until December. I don't need to do anything till December. Whereas it's harder, but so much more rewarding to like consistently take steps and actions leading up to the deadline. That way you're applying well ahead of the deadline. And when everyone else, your classmates, are panicking, you're just like, this is a great idea to apply early, right? And that's what you want. That's the feeling you want in grade 12. And then that way, while everyone else is panicking and not sleeping because they're applying and whatever, you're like, you just woke up, you had a great sleep, and you're having fun on the weekends, doing your extracurriculars. That's what you're aiming for in grade 12. Okay, so how do we work in terms of like next steps here? We do a assessment. So we like to be very honest with students, and like if you if we can't help you, and we think that your goals and where you're currently at, it's just not realistic, we will let you know in a friendly way, I hope. And no, really, there's no I hope. Like we will, but we will be realistic with students, and we do an assessment to see, one, are you within range of your goals, and if not, what do you need to do to close that gap? And then also, are we able to help you or not? And again, we'll let you know. Now, the way that our program works is we do have an admissions guarantee, and then we also help with scholarships, grants, and bursaries. And so, yes, it is an upfront investment to work with us to get the support. But really, what you're doing is you're getting the support, you're increasing your odds, you're increasing your chances. But then also, we aim to make it a cost neutral investment, so that you're spending to get the advice and the advising, but you are able to win that back on the back end. So there are some specific grants that we will walk you through. It's kind of like a good accountant that will save you money on taxes. We help you navigate the student financial aid system in Canada to help you recoup the cost of anything you invest in us. That's our goal, is to get you that back. And then it's a bonus if you get even more than that. We also have the admissions guarantee, which is we guarantee that you'll get into one of your top 5 Canadian universities, or we'll give you your money back. Now, the way this works and the way it's designed is not so that you get your money back. The idea is that you actually get into these schools, but it's to align the actions you need to take with the steps of the guarantee, so that ultimately you're getting the outcome. So your expectation is that you meet a minimum of 85% average. You attend all your one-to-ones with us. We help to edit and coach you on your applications. You get a 5 out of 5 score. And then we work with you to help you select strong schools that are stretch, target, and safety schools. And then if we do that and then you don't get in, we give you your money back. So that's how we work. And that's really just so you have peace of mind. That's not really the goal. The goal is to improve your odds, to guide you through the process, to have you be accountable to someone to support you on this journey, so that you're not doing things at the last second. Okay, so these are our prices and our different bundles. Okay, and so this is we have the base, the plus, and the premium. Now, what we typically say is for students that are either earlier in like say grade 8 and grade 9. We don't work with all grade 8 students, but but if there are students, then the premium is usually the best bet because of the consistency. And remember, the more that you work with us, the higher odds you're going to be getting grants and bursaries and scholarships as well. So that's a nice benefit to the premium. The plus is usually a good option if you're considering competitive programs, and maybe you're in like that grade 10 to grade 11 range. Base would really only be if you are maybe just applying to one program and it's not super competitive. Um, and maybe in grade 11 or grade 12, but typically if you're in grade 10 or earlier, the base is usually not the appropriate one. Okay, now this is how it all works. And actually, there's an update to this slide. So basically, you'll get 12 hours, maybe a little bit more, of consulting, coaching, and tutoring. If you want to apply to our waitlist, we will cover this in a bit more detail. But we cover the coaching, the consulting, and tutoring. And so what you're doing is you're doing like you meet with us, and then in between, as you're editing your essays, you can submit revisions. And yeah, it's 12 hours, 24 hours, or 55 hours. Now, if you do want to apply, and we are able to accept you, and it is a good fit, it's something that you see you want to do, we have a little thank you gift for attending. So if you are on this webinar and you mention this and you enroll in an admission prep bundle and mention this webinar, we will add 5 complimentary sessions to whichever bundle you enroll into. And that's for you for coming to the webinar, and it's just a little thank you. That does expire Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Pacific. Okay, so we'll go back to Q&A time. So the way this will work is ask your questions here. I'll answer as many as I can, probably for another 10 or so minutes. And if you want to work with us, fill out our waitlist application. If you're pre-qualified, we will let you know. We will call you or text you or email you. And oh, perfect, Ari, you already put it there. And you have 7 days to accept the interview with us, and you can apply there. So that is here. Ari has put this in the chat. Ari, if you could put it in there a couple more times, because I'm sure some comments. I don't know if you can pin a comment too, but you'll fill out this little application here, and then if we feel that it's a good fit, then we will enroll you into that. Yeah, good. Thanks, Ari. All right, let me look through a couple more questions here, and then we'll see you here. Some good questions. Yes. So Kaya asks, is admission prep free? So this is free. We do keep an eye on your email, because we do all sorts of different free community events. We're in schools often, we're educating. And if you're wanting to enroll in one of our paid programs, we do have those as well. If you are pre-qualified through the application, that first session with us to do the assessment and the interview is also free. Is it too late to start leadership and initiative roles in grade 11? Yes, Ari says this well. It's tight, but not too late. And we recommend picking 1 to 2 things that you can really move the needle on in the next 6 to 9 months. Is this prep course for grade 11 or grade 12? It is for grades 8 to 11. And then, so NC asked here, oh yeah, I think Ari just posted this. So if you, get a chance to look at that. So we have the YouTube, Ari posted the YouTube link there. I think he literally just posted this, which is awesome. And then Sumer asked, is there any payment plans or payment Options for premium, there are payment options. You would just need to talk to your educator if you're qualified. Um, what's the tutoring that we do? Oh, great question, VN. So the tutoring is so we have English, math, and all the sciences. NC asked which consulting bundle is best for grade 11th graders at this point. So it depends on your goals. We like, let's say you're applying to very competitive programs. That would be more in the premium. Or if it was maybe a little less competitive, like maybe you just want to go to UBC, then like the plus would be good. Um, and then for schools and Ravinder Paul, I'm not sure what we didn't apply to. Um, what grade is the best time to enroll in mission prep coaching? So grade 9, 10 is like our ideal time. Grade 11 is a little tight, but it's still, you can still move the needle. Grade 8, we work with in some special situations. If a grade 8 shows that they have the capacity to take on what we're coaching and teaching. So that is by application. Celine did not get the price, so I'll pull that back up so that you can see here. So these are the prices as well. Okay, so 36 for the base, 55 for the plus, 10,000 for the premium, and that's plus GST. So GST is on top of this. And if you are pre-qualified, your next steps would be, you've been on this webinar, which is great. You'll need to make sure to watch the webinar that we have that's pre-recorded. And then you attend the assessment call as a family with the student and all the parent guardians in the decision. And the reason for that is, you're really deciding and assessing if this is a good fit for you, and we're assessing if you're a good fit for the program as well. And so you all want to be there for that. And the webinar might have a little something else for you to keep an eye out for as well. Sumer asked, if you start in grade 8, how much is it yearly or monthly? So the way that we work, it's a great question. The way that we work is you select the bundle up front. And then if you need to upgrade, we have different upgrade options. And so if you say enroll in the premium and you only use the 55 hours as you space it out throughout, then that's it. If you need more, then you upgrade. And grade 8, we really do a strong assessment to see if a grade 8 student is appropriate for this at this time. Vanita asked, do you also work with USA universities? Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, we help a lot of students with applying to the US as well. The correct program for that would strictly be premium. And the reason for that is the US process is very demanding. It's like, instead of applying to one UBC, you're applying to 10 of them. And they're very competitive. All right, and then Ari's popping in there. Which all top universities do you help in Canada? Pretty much all of them. Like the big six are UBC, U of T, Queens, Waterloo, McMaster, and Western. Those are the big six. But there are lots of other great programs as well. And those like U of University of Calgary, they're a biomed science or what have you, has a supplemental. York Schulich has a supplemental. But for the most part, like a lot of the other ones are application, like you apply through OUAC or BC Education Planner or something, and there's no supplemental involved. So we help with that, but it's a little less important because like to do the work on the profile and the extracurricular and whatnot, because of those schools that don't have that need. Vian said, assume our name and info will all be private in the application form. Yes. You can look it up. My dad is my dad. No, I'm just kidding. He does like a security information officer for one of the governments. And security is like ingrained into me and the whole company. And it's like really annoying how secure we are. And to be honest, we have two-factor authentication for everything. So yes, all be private. Everything's locked down, and we know we're dealing with minors' information, so we take that very seriously. And our security is top notch. Actually, we had a pen test done, and they said it was the first time they had not found any issues. So that was cool. If you know what I'm talking about, I hope that was a bit of a flex. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh yeah, what if we don't succeed in getting a mission after your help or during your thing? Is the money refundable? Yes, it is. However, it's not as easy as just and we have the guarantee, but we don't do this to be like cheesy and like 30 days or your money back. Like it's there to align like the actions that you need to have the guarantee, the same actions and steps you need to be successful. So for us, that means you're attending your sessions, you're getting your applications reviewed and edited, and you maintain a high enough GPA, right? And so basically, and then we're also helping you select schools and options that are going to be a stretch, which might be something that is, let's say you're like a 92. Then we would say, okay, let me put you at a, maybe Sauder is a stretch, but then target might be like BD at SFU and UVic. I'm just giving examples. And then safety might be like Camosun, Langara, and Kwantlen. And so like in creating that strategy and that structure, you are guaranteed acceptance as long as you hit the 85%, et cetera, et cetera. And we're aiming to like create that as your strategy so that you understand this is how you're going to get there. But no, we can't, and we don't intend to with this say, oh yeah, we're going to get you into UBC guaranteed. No. That's not how it worked. If that, yeah, it just doesn't work that way. So that's not the intent with that. So I hope that makes sense. Is it for UBC Vancouver? What about UBC Okanagan? So basically with UBC Okanagan is it's a, I don't know if Mary, if you're from BC, sometimes people in Ontario or different parts of the country don't know how far apart, because like University of Toronto has University of Toronto Mississauga and Scarborough, and they're like not that far away. But UBC Vancouver and UBC Okanagan are like 4.5 hours apart, and you have to drive one of the most treacherous mountain passes in Canada to go between the two. So I don't know if you know UBC Okanagan well, but it's a different campus, 4.5 hours away, and there's similar programs with some connection, but not. It's definitely not as competitive. But you still have to do the supplemental, etc. Ridhi, you have your hand there, so I'll unmute you if you wanted to ask a question. Go ahead.
Hi, Jason. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I'm driving, so I'm not able to type. It is for my
Yes. Good.
son. It's for my son. He's in grade 8 now, and we're
Okay.
aiming for an engineering course in UBC in the Vancouver campus. So the question is, he is getting grades now like proficient, extending plus, and but I'm not sure as to how will these grades be equated into a percentage, because like you said 95 percentile or percentage is the minimum that he should aim for. So is it going to be like when he goes to grade 11, grade 12, that would be a percentage based score and
Yeah.
not like what he's getting now?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah. Short
Okay.
answer, yes. Yeah.
Okay. And the second question is that for him to get into your program, you said there would be a screening test or something like that, right? So
Yes.
will you be sending a link, or is going to be online test, or how is it going to be?
Yeah. So Ari, maybe if you can send Ridhi a link here, maybe Ari can email that. But also, we will be following up with an email with the link for the program waitlist. And I'm not sure if you can see, and if you're driving, maybe don't see, but this is what it looks like.
Okay, so I will. So if you send me the link, I will have a look at it later and then follow up on that.
Yes. Perfect. Thanks for your question.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jason.
All right, great question. If anyone else wants to, you can ask a question. We maybe have another couple minutes here So Winnie asked, I don't know how to assess how many hours required for 11th grade student. Can you provide some guidance? Yes, that's what the application and the call is for. We'll help with that. VN was asking, is there an option to customize the plan? Say I want more essay prep and planning than tutoring. So yes, in terms of the essays, so the essays are kind of structured where they're at because we have a writing coach or multiple writing coaches who will work with you like as an essay writing kind of session where they'll actually coach you on writing. And so that can often take the place of multiple essay revisions. Yeah, some very good questions. Dama asks, is it, it's till the end of high school for the expiry. And then, yeah, I think we're pretty, I think we have mostly covered most of the questions here. And I do need to also go. So I don't know if there's anything else here. There is a potential supplemental for UVic, depending on it's like you can add it in there if your grades are not good enough or you don't think they're good enough. Okay, so I'm not sure if Lynn's asking, is my son's in grade 11 right now, is it too late to apply? I hope not. I think that's what we tend to check for on the assessment and interview. Okay, so thank you so much for joining today. Hour and 15 minutes of me talking. So I appreciate you listening. I hope that you found it helpful. I'd like to invite you at this point to interact with us as much as you like. Follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok. We have a podcast called The Journey, if you want to search it up, where we share student stories that have gone through their education and you can learn about different careers. So we have that. So I invite you to engage with us in that way. We publish a lot of stuff online for students, for parents to learn. If you would like to engage with us by working with us, then please fill out our waitlist application. Ari's been sharing that there, and see if we're a fit to work together. And like I said, if you're pre-qualified, then your next steps would be to watch our pre-recorded webinar and attend your assessment call as a family. And then we'll see if we can get started. We love working with people that want to go to UBC or specialists at it. And we really like it. The other thing I'll just put on your radar, if you happen to be in the Lower Mainland, then in the next coming weeks, we're going to be doing an in-person open house at our office. We might be covering similar material, but it's great to meet the team and meet other students who are in the community and striving to go towards UBC and other post-secondary institutions. So if you want to attend, keep an eye on your email. We'd love to have you out. We always love meeting people in the community, hearing from people, and it's a lot of fun. So with that, I will say good night. Thank you all for attending. Thanks for your time and your questions, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Hugh. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Mikiko. Yes, great. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Great questions and great contributions. Thank you all. Take care.